Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to May What Are You Playing 2024 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, who's playing some games with me tonight.
Oh, it's me, Michael Colby from Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex. I don't know where that voice came from.
I don't either. And I record with you a lot.
Me again, Kyle Gorman from the RPG show, stepping in for my first What Are You Playing?
Tony from the Hey I Like That Game podcast. What's up, folks?
Welcome back after 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I know. It's been a minute. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
And Mario from Bias Gaming. This is my second episode total with Games My Mom Found and my first What Are You Playing?
Well, technically, this is going to be your first episode because the other episode didn't air yet because of time.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Timey-wimey.
I know, that's right. Today,
don't feel bad.
Either today or yesterday, Power Rangers came out, and I listened to that one, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. That's a good movie that will never get a sequel, and I'm so upset.
God, I wish it did. Oh, I wish it did.
So as we do each month, I'm joined by a few other people to talk about what games we've been playing and some movies we've been watching, as I always like to start off with a Snap. Am I the only one playing Marvel Snap like normal?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Still playing every day. Currently playing at the moment. It's still fun. I still love it. It's still got to be one of my favorite games that I've ever played for some unknown reason. It's still really good. They're currently having somewhat of an X-Men season. Somewhat. I don't really. It's supposed to be Extinction is the season. Blink is the main season pass card, which I think she's from Age of Apocalypse, but I really have no idea. It's a lot of random ass cards. It's Sasquatch is coming into the game. Sage, who I have no idea who the hell she was. I'm trying to think who else there. Nocturne, which I don't know who she is. She looks like Nightcrawler.
Those are Alpha Flight people, aren't they?
I don't know. This is beyond my...
Blink is. Yeah,
this sounds like an Alpha Flight season, which is the weirdest thing. The Canadian Avengers? What do you...
Cool!
Are we running out of superheroes?
Well, they're so polite.
It's weird, but hey, I mean, I'm taking it. I wasn't going to get Sage because I thought she sucked, and then I bought her. So the game has me hook, line, sinker still. I mean, it wasn't season pass. It was using my other resources that you get throughout playing the game.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't. I spent the money on $10 for Blink, but
I hear that game's really good. I've barely played it, but I hear it's really fun.
I love it personally. I think it's a great game. I play it every day.
And the sessions are very fast. That's what I like. It's really fast game times. So you can get in, play a couple of games, and then get out, you know?
And it really doesn't matter. I mean, I don't even give a shit if I win or lose, to be honest. Most of the time, except when I'm going for a particular mission. Like, I don't care about the ranking. I just like getting new cards. I just like playing. The game rewards you pretty well just for playing every day. Like, it has different missions. They added another thing to take your money, which does work, where you can buy a gold pass for $5 for 30 days. And then every day you log in, you get more gold, which is one of the currencies with real money. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I get my $5 every time, no complaint. So
yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I play enough of this game, so yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And they keep updating it. When there are cards that are broken, they switch things up and they nerf cards that people keep using. They'll buff up cards that people don't play to get them into the game more. Like, they make a lot of changes.
Yeah,
all the time.
I like their approach to a live service game, and they're like constantly patching, constantly putting new stuff in. They're doing it the right way, Oh
yeah, and it's still fun. I'm in a Marvel Snap group on Facebook, obviously, and people bitch all the time, and it's just hilarious to listen. Like, somebody will bitch about something, and everybody will bitch at them about it. So it's great, just internet. But no, I highly recommend the game. I play it every day still. I mean, even if you're brand new, I think you can still get into it. You don't need to spend $1. Like, you could still get all the cards eventually. It'll just take a lot longer, but a lot of the cards are crap, so it's okay. You can choose what you want. I just like having everything, so whatever the top deck is at the time, I go, oh, okay, I'm going to start using that. So that's nice when I'm able to do that.
That's one of those games. Marvel Snap is one of those games, much like Fortnite, where like I appreciate what they're doing and I understand that people love it, but it's just not for me. But I mean, if they're going that far into like putting Alpha Flight cards, like that actually makes me think more of the game. Like, they're putting stuff in there for everyone.
They're doing next month is Eternals cards for some reason.
Snooze.
And then the following month is for Deadpool and Wolverine. So we're getting Ajax, Copycat, I think, is coming out. We're getting Hydra Bob. So
Okay. Okay.
we're getting Gwenpool. Just a few like random ass shit. But it's like, hey, I'm in new cards. I'm always happy. You know, they add new cards in the game every week, pretty much, and I'm only missing 7 at the moment. So yeah, I got a few of the cards.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad that I talk a lot of shit on you for Marvel Snap, but like it does sound like they're treating you right if you do enjoy that game. So
They are.
I think that's really cool.
I don't feel like I'm never really that upset with the game. I just don't give a shit if I win or lose 99% of the time. I just don't care. And I still rank up to 80 out of 100 of the where you can get stuff for it. I'm always getting up there just by just playing the game and not really caring. So
yeah, I was the same way when I did play it. I played it for about a month, and like you're right. It's like if you lose a game, it's like not that big of a deal.
People are upset because they added a thing called leagues where you can spend money to get higher in the leagues. So people are really upset about that. And I'm like, who gives a shit? Just don't play it.
Yeah, just don't play like those free to play games. As long as they have something going for them that's not pay to win, like cool. Just play that thing.
Yeah.
Not even completely pay to win. It's pay where you get double points for a certain amount of matches.
Yeah,
but someone could just play anyway and just nonstop playing. As long as they keep winning, they'll be fine.
Yeah. As long as you're not getting like a competitive advantage for the money you spend in the game, which I mean, like, I guess you could say if you put in money, you get better cards, so you have a competitive advantage. But
you can spend a lot of money, and get resources. But even then, like, you can't buy the stuff to get new cards. You can't straight out buy. You have to come in bundles, which only come only so often.
Okay.
You could be a whale and put a lot of money in, so you always have enough to get the currency. But even as a guy who just tries not to spend too much on the game, the $10, $15, and then I buy a few bundles here and there, and I have almost all the cards, and I'm not a whale. So,
Interesting. Yeah, like that sounds like a fair system. Totally fair.
It's pretty good, and even then, there's no cards that really overpowered. I mean, every deck style will have another counter deck.
Sure.
There's only one time in the game, and there was a Shuri deck that overpowered everything in the game, and it was like that for a month before they nerfed it. But other than that, game's been fine. Yeah, that's my Marvel Snap corner. And Colby, what is something you've been playing?
Well, speaking of something that nobody else cares about, the new Vampire Survivors DLC dropped. It's like Contra based.
Yeah.
Which is really weird, but like somehow really works. I also just picked up the Among Us DLC, which also shouldn't work, but somehow does. It feels a lot like Among Us, that thing, and you get like little crewmates. It's also very funny to walk around the regular Vampire Survivors maps with like the Contra guys and the Among Us guys. But they did a really good job with especially the Contra stuff to make it feel like it fits in with the rest of that game.
It really does.
But like,
can I say that I think it's hilarious that it's Contra and not Castlevania? Like, if you're talking to Konami, it's like if you're going after one IP from Konami, they're like, well, Castlevania, this game's basically that already.
Yeah.
But
well,
Contra.
I mean, the rest of the game is very Castlevania-y.
Yeah. Very inspired by.
Yeah, I think they figured if they're going to keep it fresh, they should, go after things that are different from what everything else is in the game. And it does feel a little anachronistic to have the Among Us guys and the Contra guys in there. But also the game is so weird and random that even with it feeling off, it's still like, okay, this is fine. Like, this is a perfectly normal thing to have in Vampire Survivors.
It works.
Plus, I just unlocked the lady with the spread shotgun, and of course, that's the one you want.
Absolutely.
I just forgot I was playing that too. Because I buy all the DLC, and I just finished the first DLC. I got all the achievements for finally.
The weird thing is that the Among Us and the Contra don't have any achievements attached to it, because I was like, hell yeah, new achievements. And then I opened it up, and it's like, oh, you already have all of the achievements. And I'm like, but But
That's weird. I mean, you can still unlock characters. There's still other things to do. Like they added, like,
there's still plenty of unlocks, weapons and characters and maps and all that
and
stuff.
the adventure mode.
Yeah,
Weird.
there's new adventure mode stuff. Yeah, there's a lot to unlock in the game, but there's no new achievements, which was weird.
That is weird. I'm okay with that because then it means I don't have to worry about it for the other ones.
Yeah,
I get back into it.
I sort of was a little happy about it too because I'm like, ugh. All right, well now I can do this at my own pace instead of like trying to cram it all in so I can get the achievements. Vampire Survivors continues to rule. I love that. I love that game.
What a value. What a value.
It
I
really
bought
is.
that thing when it was in beta. I think I paid $3 for it. And that was in 2021? 2020? I've been playing it for 4 years.
It's also the Steam Deck game of the century for Steam Deck.
But it's cost me less than $1 a year at this point. So yes, best value in gaming. Oh no, wait, that's not true because I did buy all the DLCs, which are each less than $2.
And
so I've spent a total of less than $15 on it.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing game. It's an amazing like you can get it to the point where you can put the controller down and you're just killing everything around you. Like I'll make dinner while it's like collecting coins and like unlocking new characters and stuff for surviving for a certain amount of time. I don't know. It sounds so stupid if you try to explain it to somebody, but like as soon as somebody plays it, they get it. Like even if somebody doesn't play a lot of video games, you can give them Vampire Survivors and they'll be like, oh yeah, I get this. Like I get how to do this.
This is so simple. I mean, that's what I did to unlock 2 of the achievements when I was recording last weekend. I just put the controller down, put the Steam Deck down, and let it just go for I killed 100,000 enemies.
Yep. Yeah, it's fantastic. And that's my Vampire Survivors corner.
Okay. Kyle, what is something you've been playing?
Boy, so I'm not going to go through all of them right away if we're going to go round robin, I guess. But one I played earlier in the month, I think you talked about it last month even, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Finally finished it up. A lot of stuff been said about it. It was fun. A lot of mini games. Ubisoft Light, Assassin's Creed now. Not too bad. Enjoyed the time I had with it, though. I thought the gameplay was solid.
It looks cool. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I'm definitely interested. Someday I'll play it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing it a bit. I'm at like chapter 5, like right after the boat. It's pretty cool. Queen's Blood. Whew, Queen's Blood. Queen's Blood's very good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they have some really good mini games, and then they have mini games that make you want to throw your controller against the wall.
yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
And there's about 50 of them total. So,
I did like Fort Condor though. That was super fun. But fuck Chadley. That dude just got to shut up. He's just got to shut up.
Yeah. Yeah, I got about halfway through hard mode, and then at that point, it wasn't worth it, I think. Like, the reward didn't feel as good anymore, so I kind of just dropped it and went on to some other stuff.
It's hard after you beat a game to keep it going. A lot of times, once I beat something, I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, like I sometimes trophy hunt, but not that seriously.
Yeah, those days are long gone for me when I used to do that.
Another one quick, and I'm not going to mention too much about it, but I've been playing a game for the show that has the word Gears in it, so I'll just drop that for a little spoiler later.
Months away, but yes.
Yeah. Another RPG I've been playing is Aiden Chronicles 100 Heroes. Anybody else jumping in on this, or am I flying solo here?
Yeah, I want to play it, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
I have never heard that collection of words together in that order.
So it is the spiritual successor of the Suikoden series from the original creator, who unfortunately died about 2 months ago, right before the game released, which is unfortunate. But it is, I don't know, it's a tough read. If you're really into old 90s JRPGs, specifically Suikoden, it is, you collect 120 characters. It's got all the classic stuff they had with it, but it feels a little, like, for a crew that's been together before, it feels a little freshman. Some of the choices they made in the game are just kind of weird, both quality of life and like artistically in some senses. But at its core, it's still pretty fun. Like, I would suggest it if people are into it. And I think it might be kind of like the first two games, if anyone has any familiarity with them. The first Suikoden game was actually just a demo for the second game. And it was, you could tell it didn't have all the systems in place and everything together. But the second game is probably arguably top 3 JRPGs of the PlayStation era.
Absolutely agree. That game is so good.
It's so good. I love that game. I realized 2 years ago there's mini games in that game I've literally never played because there's just so much stuff in that game to do, and it's all so much fun.
Yeah, the combat's really good. The story's really good. I also love because isn't there like a tactics like mode or something like that? Like
yes.
Those scenes are so much fun.
So this game has all of that, but they just don't exactly do a great job of it, unfortunately. Like all the bones are there, and there's a little bit more base building. But they have already greenlit the second game. It's got money support without being kickstarted, so I'm hoping they'll kind of get it together. But the first, it's still a good game. I'd suggest it. I'm
just waiting for the damn Suikoden games to come out for Steam someday.
Remakes, hopefully soon.
Yeah, because you're known to have 100 hours to play a JRPG.
Oh, Suikoden 1 is short.
Oh, dude, the first 2 games are 25 hours. Actually, one of the characters in the second game, you need to get the character in less than 22 hours.
I've beaten the first one like 3-4 times, so it doesn't take me long to run through it.
Yeah.
It's actually been on the catalog. It's been on the list to do on the show multiple times, but then I'm like, no, I'll just wait for the remake to come out that's coming out later this year.
Yeah, I'm pre-signing for that episode, by the way.
At some point, it's going to happen. I might not wait any longer. I might just say fuck it. I don't know if they're ever going to release the damn remake or remaster, but fucking Konami.
And then I can pass if somebody else wants to jump in. I've just got 2 more quick ones for later.
Sure. Tony, what is something you've been playing?
Okay, I've got a couple things here. I'll do 2. One old, one very new. The old is Sega Bass Fishing. We just played that game for the latest episode of my show. Hey, I like that game. And it's an absolute delight. Like, holy hell, Sega Bass Fishing. It rocks.
Is that the one on the Dreamcast?
Yeah.
The literally the only time I've ever enjoyed fishing in a video game.
Yeah, it's good.
It's so good.
It's very, very good. Like, it's a fun fishing game, and like technically speaking, it's like a very competent one. Like, there's a lot of different lures that behave in the way that you would think they would. You also need to like compensate for like time of day and like area that you're fishing in. But then on top of that, it has some of the most insane voiceover of all time. Like the way that the dude says fish and like, oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Like, look up Sega Bass Fishing like voiceovers. It's amazing. Very, very good. Pure joy. That game is just pure joy. Yeah. Has anybody else played that game? I think Colby, you said you did. Nobody else.
It was when the Dreamcast sort of went out of fashion, and I was able to pick up like all sorts of, like, I got all these games and like all the accessories. Like, I got Samba de Amigo and the fishing and the fishing pole and all of the crazy shit that went with the Dreamcast. Yeah. And I was able to pick them up at our local like mom and pop used video game store. They couldn't get rid of it fast enough. So I just bought all of it and like surprisingly played Sega Bass Fishing and more Seaman than you ever would think anyone would play.
Yeah, the Dreamcast was great at fish physics. They just figured it out.
Yeah, they really that console, and there's no reason for that Sega Bass Fishing to be that good. But yeah, absolute. When you say delightful, like I don't think a lot of people realize how good that fishing game was.
It's excellent, and it's really meant to be played as an arcade game. So it was released in arcades first, then it came to Dreamcast, and then it was ported like everywhere. Like I got it on Steam, and that's where I'm playing it right now. And you can play through arcade mode in like, I don't know, 20 minutes, maybe less than that. And it's just like an injection of joy and happiness. And then you can just go on with your life. It's great. It's very, very good. Yeah, Sega Bass Fishing rules.
Okay.
And then yeah, right. The other game, so the new game that I've been playing is a game called Rotwood. This is from the makers of Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together. This game just came out into early access, and basically it's like a more in-depth Castle Crashers. You can play up to 4-player co-op. You have different weapons that have different like combos and stuff. You have different armor pieces that give you different like abilities, and there's like stats and stuff. And you're basically interacting with the game like a Castle Crashers, but like the meta progression around it is more like a Monster Hunter. So you're going on these hunts, fighting these bosses over and over again to gather components, to build weapons and to improve your weapons and armor. And then the cycle continues. It's really, really fun. All the different weapons are very diverse. So that like has the Monster Hunter like energy going on there, but it's a little more accessible, and it's like easy to play 4-player. Like I've been able to get people together to play, do a bunch of runs, and it's a really good like chill game to play, with your friends. It also has one of the more inventive weapon types that I've ever seen, which is called the Striker. And you're basically a dude with 2 dodgeballs, and your whole goal is to like throw and smack them back at enemies. And it's very, very like active and fun to play. And it's just like, you're smacking things with balls. It's pretty great.
Okay.
Does it have that behemoth aesthetic? Is that what it looks like, or?
Yeah, kind of. Like it's like flat sprites in like a 3D world. It looks really, really good. Like if you've seen Don't Starve before,
I've seen Don't Starve.
Yeah, like how those sprites like kind of look flat on the world with it. Yeah, it's that similar style, but they look gorgeous. Like it reminds me stylistically of this board game Root with like these little like animal critters. That's kind of the style of these guys too. Yeah, it's really neat. It's still, early access, so there's not all the content in there. But for what's in there so far, for like $10 or whatever it is, it's been really good. I've put like maybe 20 hours into it so far. Yeah, really, really fun. Really fun.
Okay. Didn't even know this existed. And now I have it on my list to maybe check out someday.
There you go.
There was a game that somebody mentioned, a really early What Are You Playing Lake, which I eventually did play and cover on the show.
Well, there you go. Cool.
Mario, what is some stuff you've been playing?
Well, the game I actually most recently finished is a game I actually haven't beaten since I first got it almost 20 years ago. I only played it because I found the old strategy guide in my shed. I actually talked about X2 Wolverine's Revenge on the original Xbox. And God, it looks terrible on my TV.
Oh.
21-year-old game released by Activision and worked on by Warthog Studios. So it was one of those, it was supposed to be one of those movie tie-in games, anything like that, and it's called X2, but it has nothing to do with the movies. Beast's in the game even before the third movie came out. And God, those cutscenes are terrible. But I'm actually happy because I actually beat it finally over God knows how long.
No, some of those, PS2 games are hard. That's why emulation is wonderful.
And then the funny thing too is that I remembered every single little secret thing you could do once I started playing it again. Because you first start off the game in a flashback, playing a flashback level of Wolverine escaping from Alkali Lake when he first, got the adamantium put in. And then you can find a comic book that'll give you the Patch comic book costume, where I guess he's a gambler or something like that. Okay. And then just the bosses that were in this game I almost never heard of, besides Sabretooth and Magneto. But I had never heard of Omega Red. I'd never heard of Wendigo, and that thing was an asshole.
Yeah, Omega Red is sick.
Yes.
And then the whole plot of it is basically through that flashback level, you find out that I guess Wolverine had a virus put in him as he was being, worked on. And it was, I guess, set to go off almost exactly during the time of the movies, I guess. And he only has, and there's a timer implanted in your wrist, and you have 2 days to find the antidote. He says the stupidest thing, because whenever Beast says, you have 2 days, Wolverine says, "Oh, that's my birthday." Isn't that a kick in the head? But the funniest part about this game, though, is it's not the crappy combat. It's not the fact that you have 2 turret levels before those were even a thing. It was the fact that I had no idea Mark Hamill had voiced Wolverine in this game.
What?
And Juggernaut.
Okay.
And there was going to be a sequel to this game that had nothing to do with the movies, but it was tied to Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister. And you actually see them in the game. and it's like there's a deleted scene where Spider-Man comes out, kind of like it's kind of like a reference to the X-Men movie where they had that deleted scene where the blooper where Spider-Man shows up behind Cyclops and Storm and Jean.
I did not ever see that. This just sounds bizarre.
It's a very clunky game, and there's stealth mechanics, and he has some weird feral sense where you see everything in weird colors, but you have like a way to, it's kind of like I guess like a hint system or like a way to sneak around, GPS, all that crap. It was a good game, and the villains weren't bad. The only problem with it is that this game was so hard. The only way I could beat it and see how the game actually ended after so many years is that I had to put in cheat codes.
The way you described that virus, it sounded just like Fox Die or whatever from Metal Gear. Like it's like, oh yeah, you have to have this virus, and oh yeah, it's gonna kill you right now.
It probably was, honestly, because this was a random story out of nowhere, completely. It just has Wolverine's face on it. Hugh Jackman's cover is on the cover. Mark Hamill voices him, and then the only thing tying it to the movies, besides that cover art, is the fact that Patrick Stewart voices a very disturbing looking Professor X. Like he looks like he looks like Elvis almost, but with skin tone from Perfect Dark.
Okay.
It's creepy.
Man, I miss movie tie-in games. They were usually garbage, but they were fun. And they are gone.
Oh, but God, it was a hard game. And then there's like one part where you have to go in a meat locker and bring down your temperature to pass by certain infrared lasers or something like that.
Yeah, whenever I play old games like that, I always emulate them and with save states because I won't do it. I won't make it otherwise.
Always save states.
Nothing to prove.
And then, not only that, the best part about this game, that wasn't the combat, wasn't anything. It was the bloopers too. Like there's a part where Wolverine brings out his claws, but it's actually just a spoon, fork, and butter knife.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember the game. I always was curious about it. I don't think I ever played. I never played it. I know that. I don't think I own it, but I might.
It's harder to play when the controller you have kept getting stuck on the right thumbstick. I had the big the Duke controller.
Oh, that was part of your problem, I think, right there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay, any other games you want to mention?
Besides the fact that I'm playing Resident Evil Revelations 1 for my podcast, Biased Gaming, and that Colby will be on on the 31st.
Revelations 1's a good game.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently it's the only third person mode game that he actually does like, besides a little bit of 6, I think. And he loves Biohazard, but I'm not a fan of it, honestly. I haven't even finished it.
No, I like the first 3 and the remakes of 2 and 3. It's just the 4. It's just the 4, 5, and 6.
When you go back to
Wasn't that bad though.
They're really bad.
It was. I'm with you on that one.
With your friends.
I need to play 6 again so bad. I haven't played it since long before this podcast, and I really want to experience it again someday.
I'll recognize that it's bad, but I just love it for what I remember. It wasn't even the nostalgia factor. It's like I actually found myself enjoying it just because it was stupid and schlocky.
I had a great time when I played it a long time ago, but I need to re-experience it.
It would have been great if it was half as long as it is. I agree.
I agree with that. I will say that. We didn't even need an Ada chapter. It was just, there was no point.
Okay, and Colby, what are some other games you've been playing?
Super hot. Super hot. Super hot.
I have no idea what you're saying.
So I've been
That game was
hot.
annoyingly fun.
The game's so good.
It's annoyingly fun. I will say that.
I played through the first one in VR, which was an amazing experience. They put Mind Control Delete on Game Pass, and I'm playing through that, and there's like 4 levels in this entire thing that you keep going through the same levels. But that's part of the story. The story unfolds. It does the thing that I love where the story unfolds very slowly and you have to figure it out. Like if you're just playing this game, you can think, oh yeah, this is just, you're just playing these same levels over and over again. And if killing these red guys is fun, then you're still having fun. But if you're like paying attention and looking at every little nook and cranny and, looking at what's going on, like a story comes out and it's like really cool. And I'm not saying that to be like pretentious. It's just like my favorite things are things that you can either play or watch and just have fun watching them. And if you really want to get into it, you can, but you don't have to. And that's what Super Hot is. It's stylistically so cool. And also the idea of it is like, it's not really a shooter. It's a puzzle game.
Yep.
It's a puzzle game where you have to figure out how to not die and kill these red guys. And time only moves when you're moving. Well, it moves a little bit when you're not moving. But so you have to figure out, you have to dodge these bullets that they're shooting at you and get weapons, and you get upgrades. And then like your upgrades are random. So it's like roguelike-ish. And then at the end of the like scene, after you kill enough of these red dudes, it plays it through in like full motion, and it's like a scene out of a John Wick movie, because like you're killing dudes and then you're throwing your empty gun and then you're grabbing weapons out of the air and using them and like jumping off of balconies, and it's just the coolest game I've ever played. Like every time I play it, I'm like enthralled with this game. It's so cool. And I know it came out like 2 years ago, but like I'm just getting around to it.
No, it's older than that, isn't it?
The original is, but Mind Control Delete. Mind Control for Mind Control Delete.
Oh, never mind. No,
yeah,
Super
Mind
Hot.
Control Delete is like a separate thing.
See, I say that it's annoyingly fun only because when I first played it, and the only time I actually really played it was on the PSVR, the original one.
Yeah.
And so many times my headset went taut and I kept falling to the ground every time I tried to dodge a bullet.
I can see that happening.
I actually owned the first Super Hot. I never played it. Didn't even know I owned it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. Mike, you have to play Super Hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually totally agree. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites all time.
Okay, maybe it'll have to happen at some point. It doesn't look very long, so.
It's not very long, and it's also one of those things that, you can play a stage and it might take you 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you can put it on, play a stage or two, and then move on with your life. I play in the morning. I get home from work, I get through a stage, and then I go to bed. Like that's how I've been playing it. So it's not, it's not something that you have to dedicate yourself to.
Okay.
But it is something that you're going to want to keep playing.
You got my attention. I knew of it, but I didn't know much about it. This is the first time anybody's recommended it on this podcast. So, okay.
Yeah, it's like I said, it looks like a first-person shooter, but it's not a first-person shooter. It is a puzzle game. Because if you play it like a shooter, you're just going to die because the enemies are just too fast if you're just playing it like a shooter. So you have to really think about what you're doing. It's like a strategy thing, more of a strategy thing than a first person shooter.
That's fine. That's what the internet's for if I get stuck. So okay.
I don't think
you can't really get stuck.
No, you can't really get stuck. You just it's not a like puzzle solving thing. It's a taking your time and thinking about what you need to do next type of thing.
Yeah. And there's like a little bit of execution to it, like a learning curve of like how to play the game, especially if you're not like super into first person shooter games,
Yeah.
But you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah. It's set up in a way that it is challenging, but it's definitely set up for you to win, if that makes sense.
It does.
It's like perfectly balanced. It's so fun to play. It's so cool looking. And if you want to get into the lore, there's lore there, and it's awesome.
All right, I have the first one, so maybe I'll have to check it out someday.
Yeah,
the first time I actually I knew about this game for a long time, and I never give a shit. Now I actually somewhat care.
Yeah,
okay.
I have to explain it to everybody, and then like I sound insane when I'm talking about it because it like all the games that I really like. If you try to explain it to people, you sound insane, and it sounds like the worst game that anyone's ever played.
Well, I know about it. Like I've seen videos of it. I've heard people talk about it. Just never been mentioned on this podcast yet.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that's like so weird. And then like like I was talking about Vampire Survivors, and it's like, oh yeah, you just move around and your weapons automatically shoot. Like that sounds like it's terrible.
It does.
But it's not. But that's the kind of game I like. If it makes me sound like I'm insane when I'm explaining it, I'm in.
And do you have any other games to mention, Colby?
I got the Bloodborne board game.
Okay.
It's not like playing Bloodborne, and it seems very rote. Like a lot of the random stuff that usually comes with a board game isn't really there because it's scenarios. So it's like a little bit of like luck and skill, but it feels more like you're just playing out a scenario that they wrote for you, which is fine. It's really cool. The miniatures are immaculate.
Have you played the Dark Souls board game? Is it very similar to that?
It's similar, but like Bloodborne, it's a little bit faster paced.
Okay.
Than the Dark Souls board game. You can finish a game in about 40 minutes or so.
Oh, wow. That's fast.
That is fast.
But it's also like you can play with one person or up to 4 people. And there's different miniatures. You know, there's like a cane hunter, one with a saw cleaver. There's one with an axe, and then there's one with the Moonlight Greatsword. So like they each have different abilities. So you can either play through as one of them or with 2 or 3 or 4 people. And it's very interesting. And it's basically get to the boss, fight the boss is the way that it goes. But you can keep going, you know, it like stage to stage, or you can just do one stage that takes like I said, less than an hour to get through one of the scenarios. But it's very cool. I've never seen miniatures quite like, not, you know, like Warhammer and stuff is a different thing. I mean, like a regular board game where they put that much care into all of the parts of this thing. So yeah, Bloodborne board game.
Something amazing. Bloodborne, since we don't get a Bloodborne too.
I know. I get Bloodborne everything I can because there's not much of it.
No. There's a Totaku figure, isn't there? Or whatever they're called.
Oh, yeah, the like 6-inch figure that's like $120. Yeah,
never mind. I just remember it existed. I remember seeing it or hearing about it, but I never bought it.
Yeah,
I didn't care
no,
at the time.
I haven't bought that either. I just have my little plush hunter guy sitting on top here. So
I gotta play that this year.
Oh, you're gonna play it. You got to add me on PlayStation so I can help you fight the boss.
Oh, I'm gonna need help because I'm gonna be beating that game in like a 2-3 week period. So it'll be a lot of help needed. My wife is gonna hate me. She doesn't like it when I play Souls games and I get upset and I'm like, fuck, and she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, nothing.
Those are the games I play to relax.
To relax?
Yeah, because I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, crazy.
I swear a lot during those games. So I also grind a fuck ton in Souls games when I can.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to grind with you, but I'll get on bosses with you.
That's put on a podcast and just chill and do the same thing over and over again. Oh. I beat the game before. I beat almost every boss but Orphan of Coast. So I think I should be able to do it. As long as I start early enough and keep playing it, I'll be fine. Oh, and
you and me are going to beat Orphan of Kos together.
We'll see. And Kyle, what are some stuff you've been playing?
All right, yeah, to wrap the rest of mine up, one I just play here and there. It's a nice couch game and play with the wife when I can. Ace Attorney, if you guys played that, just fun. It's a fun couch game. Give them a try. I know it's not for a lot of people, story-driven ones, but I think it's pretty funny, pretty good, super classic, worth a try. Some other games I'm getting into, 2 weird ones. So you guys do games done quick. I'm a huge fan. I love speed running. I love the concept. I love breaking games down. I love the technicality of it. So I, for a couple of years, have been trying to think of like the game I would like to speed run and just giving it a test here and there. I haven't gotten deep into it, but I've been playing some Goof Troop for the Super Nintendo.
Yes, that's such a good speed run too.
Super fun game. It's a 21-minute world record. Yeah. I've been like working around and I can get some levels in under about 10 now. It's not great, but I think it's super easy. It's super simple. It's a fun like semi-platform puzzler with mostly throwing mechanic. It's just a great game. I don't know. It's really, really fun and fantastic. So I've been having a good time with that.
You picked a good one. You picked an absolute good one.
Love that game.
Never played it. I didn't even know it existed.
Oh, dude,
till...
Goof Troop is
It's
sick.
so
Snatch
good.
Drop
It's
told me
it's like
about
the
it.
best multiplayer SNES puzzle game I can think of, honestly. You can play
It's
with
so
two
weird.
players with Goofy and Max. It's fantastic. And then the last one, if no one's played this, I wouldn't be surprised, but one that I've liked, and I just kind of went back because it's on the Switch. I've got 2 kids, and sometimes hands are limited as well as TVs. So I've been redoing the Voice of Cards trilogy. Has anybody
What is
heard of this? Been involved with it? No?
Nope.
So it's a Yoko Taro game, if anyone's familiar with Drakengard or
Oh.
Nier.
Yeah.
And it is a RPG that is literally entirely visualized with cards. So the characters are on cards, the map is card based, and it flips over when you move along it. It's just like a super weird artistic game. There's 3 of them. They're about 12 to 15 hours a piece at 100%, but it's just one of those ones. It's like super simple and really, really artistically well done. The stories are pretty dark too, so I'd give it a look. It's just like, it's such a weird game, but you can tell that it's a 100% Yoko Taro. Like it, no questions about it.
And it's on Steam too, by the way. I just looked
It's on
it up.
everything. Yeah.
And
always
what
a
is
big
this
fan of
called
that.
again? Because I do love Yoko Taro.
Voice of Cards. So there's Isle, Dragon Roars, The Forsaken Maiden, and The Beasts of Burden. 3 separate games.
Okay.
But yeah, like it's so weird to explain, but honestly, every single thing in the game is done with cards. It's like
That's
listening to a
weird.
tabletop game that you're just kind of playing along with, and classically then a turn-based RPG.
Okay.
Did you say it makes you sound insane if you try to explain it?
Honestly, yeah. Like I wish I could tell you more about it, but you really have to just see it, and it's like, wow, this makes a lot of sense how they do it, and it's really, again, it's just like artistically really cool.
Okay, I'm in.
Yep.
I wish listed it. It's $30 right now on Steam, but maybe someday who knows, or I'll get in a random bundle. I buy enough of them. But hey, I'm always happy to learn of new games that exist that I didn't know existed.
And then it's especially good when you find out that you already own them and you just found out that they existed.
That happened more than once, by the way.
Oh, I know. It's happened more than once when I've been on the show.
I buy a ton of Fanatical bundles. I buy a ton of Humble bundles. If I don't own a good amount of whatever's in there, I'm like, okay, I'll pick it up. And then I end up with this weird shit sometimes. And I'm like, cool. Did you have any other games you want to mention, Kyle?
No, that is all the games I've been playing in the last month, every single one.
Okay. Tony, what about you?
Speaking of weird shit, I have one more game that is very. It's taking over my life in a way that a game hasn't in a long time. This thing is called Poke Rogue. So it is currently a web-based Pokemon roguelike. The way the game works is you basically just do a series of battles, either like one-on-one wild Pokemon or against trainers. In between each of these like fights, you pick up items. Those items can be like, oh, use a potion, or like, here's a berry to give to your Pokemon. It could be like evolution material, like a link cable, or like Thunderstone. It could be items like a Dynamax bracelet, so you can like Gigantamax a Pokemon. So like it introduces mechanics from every generation into one game. It also does some crazy stuff with like progression. So like the way the game starts is you have 10 points to build your team of Pokemon. It starts with every generation of Pokemon in there, but you can only play with the starters. So you pick 3 starters and you start playing. Any Pokemon you catch is now a starter that you can use at the start of a run. Different Pokemon have different point values. So like a Mewtwo is going to cost you like 7 points, whereas a Caterpie will cost you 1 point, like that kind of stuff. When you beat certain gym leaders, so like the way that the structure is, it's like every 10 battles, you'll fight either like a gym leader or like a boss type Pokemon. When you beat a gym leader, you'll get a voucher. So there is this whole system of eggs in the game that's like a gacha machine. There's 3 different gachas. One will give you a Pokemon with better egg moves. One will give you like a higher likelihood of getting a legendary, and one will give you a higher likelihood of getting shinies. So there's this kind of 2 main ways of unlocking more stuff, by
getting deeper into your run and catching Pokemon to unlock, or you unlock these eggs that will give you different Pokemon. There's also a ton of strategy in like formulating your team, putting together your different move sets. It's super duper fun. It works really well on your phone as well because you just played in a browser. So I've been playing it on my phone in bed. I've been having it up during work and like playing a handful of turns and then like go back to a meeting, do some work, turn back over here, let me do a couple battles real quick. It's really, really neat. It's one of my favorite ways to play Pokemon now. I will say, I'm pretty sure there's a GitHub with the whole game on there right now, and I'm thinking about grabbing it so I can play it offline because Nintendo's going to shut this thing down. Like, there's no fucking way.
I'm surprised it's how long? It's been up for at least 3 weeks.
It's been a couple of weeks. But every time I like open it up, I'm on like the home screen. It says how many users are online. It's always in 5 digits. It's like in the 30s to 40s. K. The Discord that's like attached to it has like hundreds of thousands of people in it. It will get shut down. There's no fucking way it doesn't.
Oh yeah, no, Nintendo is not nice.
They don't play. But this thing is awesome. It's really, really fun. If you like Pokemon at all, there's like no reason to not try this because it's totally free and it just works in your browser.
Yeah, if there's an offline version, it means it will survive once Nintendo does come down on it.
Oh yeah, this thing, now that it is made, it will survive. It will survive in our hearts. And on hard drives everywhere.
Yeah, like Metroid. Remember Metroid 2, the fan made one that was cease and desist. I have access to it. Like it didn't go anywhere.
Exactly. It's like not readily available, but still available in all of our pirate hearts.
This looks really cool. I looked up. You can, if you're curious, for those listening, you can go on YouTube and just search Pokemon Rogue or Poke Rogue, and it will come up.
Yeah, it's PokeRogue.net. It does crazy shit. Like you can go past level 100, which the first time I saw that broke my brain a little bit. It's crazy. This thing's crazy. There's also, I got an item one time that was like a DNA splicer, which basically allowed me to combine 2 Pokemon together. And what ended up happening was it merges their names together and gives them a shared pool of moves and like kind of augments stats a little bit and then changes their color scheme. So like I was just like testing the item. I didn't know what I had. So I combined, I think it's called like Al Creamy. It's like basically like an ice cream Pokemon with a Pidgeotto. And it looked stupid. It looked absolutely stupid, but can't wait to do it on an actual cool combination. But yeah, it's a dope little game. It's
really cool. Yeah. I mean, hopefully Nintendo leaves it alone, but I know they won't. So I'm surprised it's not taken down yet.
Yeah.
So I guess because it's Pokemon Company has to do it, not Nintendo. They're probably not as concerned.
I bet the lawyers are just working on the language right now. The email is being drafted up as we speak.
Okay, that's really cool. I mean, hey, if it's single player, that means it'll live forever because once you're on the internet, you don't really go away.
The last thing I want to say about it too is that like because every run can start in a different way, like there's different teams, you can really like strategize to come up with different combinations or comps to start your run off. But it also allows you to play with Pokemon that you never would play with. Like a Grimer never has a room on my team, or like a Coughing. A Coughing is a great example. Never normally would have a spot on my team. But the Coughing I have in here, it starts with like poison gas. So I instantly can like poison anything, right? Like I have access to that right away. That's pretty nice to have, right? And for like a small amount of points, he could fill in a slot on a team and have like good utility, right? Like you can use Pokemon that you normally wouldn't and get some really good results. Like I had a really deep run with a Tauros. And like Tauros has never been like on a team of mine before. Like I've always liked that Pokemon, but like it's never been good enough for like the type of comps that I've put together. And this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to try Tauros. And it was excellent. Like he was great. He's so fast. He's got such a high attack stat. Like it's great. He's good.
This is really cool. And it's something that Nintendo should make because this would sell.
That's a whole nother conversation.
I know.
Don't uncork me on that.
The one thing
I've
they
had that
tried to
conversation on here
make
before.
that was Pokemon was that Pokken, the Tekken Pokemon, and that failed miserably.
Oh, Pokken Tournament?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that game sucked. I hated
wasn't
that.
there
game.
That's what I'm saying. The one time they tried, they failed miserably.
Wasn't there a Dota Pokemon too, or did that go away?
Pokemon Unite.
yeah.
That's still going. It's still going. It's like terribly balanced, but people like it. I mean, I've had friends at work just like within the last couple of weeks talking about that game, but I played it and it's just like not for me. Mechanics are way too swingy, man. The game like either snowballs or the complete like it does a complete reversal in the last like 30 seconds, and you're like, well, why the fuck did I even play this whole match? You know?
I mean, and that whole genre has been balanced by now. I'm just, like freaking League of Legends exists.
Yeah.
So, okay, I just forgot it even existed until I was thinking, oh yeah, they made something like that. I don't follow Pokemon very much at all. Okay, hey, you got my attention, Tony. You mentioned something very cool, Tony.
All right.
Maybe someone listening to this will actually try it out. I won't, but maybe somebody will.
Please, and if you like it, just say hi.
And find the download before it comes after them. And did you have any games to mention, Tony, or that was it?
That was my last one.
Okay. Mario, what about you?
So besides Ark that I've been really getting into, there's another game I've been playing that is another superhero game, and I do have that's like a pattern for me. But before I talk about the game itself, there's a movie that just came out not too long ago that technically can be tied to it. But besides what everyone else says about the movie, I actually kind of like it because it's stupid, and that would be Madam Web. I honestly, I rented it today or yesterday. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like it.
Madam Web.
Yeah, it's a little stupid, but I like it.
It's amazing. It's an amazingly stupid movie.
I mean, it's not Halle Berry Catwoman bad, thank God, because there were some scenes that reminded me of it. But
I need to watch
wasn't
it.
Bad.
It's awesome.
It's again, I like it. But the game though is actually Spider-Man: Web of Shadows that came out in 2008.
Good game.
Great game. And then it's funny though because there's 3 different scores for it. One of which IGN gave it like 50%, I guess. And I heard bad things about it too from some friends of mine. But it's actually a really good game. The controls aren't as good as they are now, but I mean, it was a good story. It was a good opening with Moonlight Sonata. I don't know if it was supposed to be supposed to have reference to the movies because they do talk about Green Goblin or reference Green Goblin being dead for a while, and you get to see symbiote versions of characters from Marvel Comics like Black Cat, 2 different versions of that one actually. Wolverine, Vulture. You don't see it, but they hint at Moon Knight and Luke Cage. And there's 3 different versions of the game too, actually. There's one for the PS2 that was like a 3D but also 2D side-scrolling game. And then there was the regular version for the PCs, for the PC, Xbox 360, and PS3. And then there was the Wii version, which is almost exactly the same, but it had different costumes you can choose, whereas the original regular versions did not have that. And that pissed me off because the Wii got to get Spider Carnage.
I played it before and I really liked it, but it's been a while.
Good. Well, part of the reason why I played this, I might be reviewing it sometime this year, but it's a good game. It's a good, this was the Insomniac Spider-Man 2 before they came out. It was great. It was a similar story. There was a part of Spider-Man 2 that actually really reminded me of Web of Shadows. And I'm like, I felt like Leonardo DiCaprio in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie. I'm like, it's a reference. I know it is. You can't tell me it's not because it is. And then the fact that even if you beat the game, you can still keep playing it. No, you can't. Sorry, I'm lying. Before you play, you don't have. There's no time limit to how much time you play the game between missions because it's an open world. But before the last, I want to say, a few chapters, the New York City goes to shit, and there's people covered in gray symbiote goo that are bleeding black that are very zombie-like, and it's fucking amazing. Especially whenever you combine the regular Spider-Man powers with the symbiote ones and just going to town on them.
And there's also a DS version, which is a Metroidvania.
Okay, I didn't know that. But it just pisses me off that the Wii version got the costume selection. Because there was the Armored Spider-Man, and for the symbiote version of that one, for the silver and black from the anime cartoon series,
Yes.
The opposite to that one, the symbiote version of that one was Spider Carnage.
It's weird.
Which
I'd rather have
makes
Spider
sense.
Carnage.
And the enemies are good too, or at least the symbiote ones work, because there was a big fat red one that was it was very like a tanky almost. There was flying ones, which because of Vulture, there was an Electro one too, which is like the villains were great, the enemies were great. The fact that you get to at one point rip Wolverine in half to get the symbiote out of him if you want to, because it had a choice system, was great. You literally and you hear the metal snap when you tear him in half. And you see his little legs moving next to his head. It's fantastic.
It's a really cool game. I love. I remember really loving the story. I want to replay it. It's one of those games that makes me sad that there's no way, like it doesn't exist outside of tracking down a copy or emulation.
Yeah,
and then people are selling them for $80 to $300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still say that Web of Shadows is the best Spider-Man game. I would rather play that one than any of them.
It's great. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Insomniac Spider-Man 2 is good. It's a great game. But to me personally, it does not compare to Web of Shadows. Granted, yes, they have Miles and his ugly ass suit at the end of the game. Web of Shadows was the better version of that story.
And it also doesn't have that open world bloat that those Insomniac Spider-Man games have.
No, yeah, it does. If you swing too fast in the city, you just freeze frame and stop and you just fall straight down.
You just mean like giant, like so much stuff to do.
Yeah, I just mean the fact that it doesn't have 800 hours worth of shit to do.
It doesn't. I mean, you can obviously, extend it that long.
You can, but my problem with the Insomniac games is that they sort of force you to do that side stuff, and I get exhausted before I have beaten them.
I mean, honestly, like I said, I change symbiote colors and stuff now, but besides small details, it really does just feel like a copy and paste of Web of Shadows with certain things added to it. It really does to me, in my personal opinion, like I said. Because it's almost, besides certain points at the beginning, it's almost beat for beat, except for how Spider-Man gets a symbiote. Is literally the only difference to me.
I definitely want to replay it someday. I want to play this DS game. I forgot it existed.
It's great.
Anything else you've been playing you want to mention?
No, not at this moment, no.
Okay, that takes us out of games then. That brings us to movies. I'll go movies and TV. I'm going to say one particular TV show for the very last thing we talk about, which I'm sure I know at least a couple of us have been watching for sure. So it involves some 90s nostalgic. But I do want to mention, I did get to see Mummy, the one with Brendan Fraser in theaters. Which is really
cool.
Nice. Mm-hmm. It was in theaters for one night only, I think, or so. Maybe more, but I went and saw it. It was really still good. Still a freaking great movie.
That's awesome.
I love that movie. I forgot how much I'm watching that movie. I'm sitting there saying some of the lines in the theater, like, oh, damn, I love this movie.
God,
it's delightful. It's just delightful.
It's
the best part about that movie, though, you have to admit, is when Benny got what he deserved.
I love that. Terrible way to go, too. Whew.
I don't care. He deserved it. All you hear is the crunch and screaming. It's fucking great.
Yeah, and there's I was watching. I remember there's one part where one of the guys is going to get eaten by Emotep, and he's shooting other zombies. I'm like, shoot your damn self, buddy. Like that's what I would have done. Like, time to go. Like, it ain't going to be pleasant. What's going to happen when you run out of?
Oh, you mean that one guy that's in every freaking kind of movie or TV show? Because he's in everything.
I don't recognize him for anything else, but it was just one of the Americans that finds the grave.
I can't remember his name, but if you actually look him up, he's in so much crap. Oh, he's in Hellboy too.
I've never seen those. I don't know why, but I just really enjoyed it. And the only other thing I want to mention that I've been watching is Star Wars Bad Batch ended, season 3, and the whole series ended too. Really good show. I really enjoyed it. If you're a Star Wars fan, it adds a lot of good context. It also, like, because of the extended stuff that Disney Plus has been doing, they're actually trying to make the last Star Wars movie make sense. Rise of Skywalker. They're working on it. Like, this season of Bad Batch is all about Project Necromancer, which the Palpatine is trying to make clones. Weird. Of himself, so he doesn't die. Well, he just would have come out before the movie came out. So, they're starting to try to retcon and fix the issue. But no, really great show. If anyone else has been watching or not, really great show.
I enjoy... we were just talking about the Disney Star Wars movies today. I actually like them. I thought they were fun. I thought they were fine movies. And I know I'm in the minority there, but I really enjoyed those movies.
I mean, I reviewed all of them recently. I enjoyed them. So, Colby, what is some stuff you've been watching?
Well, I started watching Resident Alien. I don't know if anybody's seen that. A show about alien who crashes into Earth and takes over the body of a dude that he kills and then becomes a small town doctor.
Never heard of it.
It's very weird. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't have a ton to say about it, but I'm sure somebody out there has watched and loved every second of Resident Alien and went, yeah, fucking Resident Alien, go. And what was the other thing that I watched? Oh yeah, Fallout.
I forgot
that too.
Watched all of Fallout. I love those games, and the show is excellent. Like, people have been talking about it and how great it is, and they're not wrong. It's a great show. I don't know how many people here have watched it, but
I was going to mention it too if I can step in. So I also thought it was really good. I think it's the best video game show I've seen that captures the essence of the game itself.
Yeah,
I think they did a really good job of that. And I apologize, this might be a hot take here. The only thing I don't like, I hope they don't keep the same characters and move them to a different location. I hope they move to a different location with new characters and show the difference of the areas of the Fallout instead of having Lucy and whoever travel all the way across the U.S.
Different playthroughs,
Exactly. That's what I want to see. I want to see the true Fallout where things are just completely different in area to area. I think they've done a great job of that so far, though.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm very interested to, because I've never liked the Bethesda RPGs, and Fallout specifically has never really resonated with me, like as a game, but as a premise, I'm like all in on that, right? Like I love the world that they set up with all the different vaults. It's a very interesting premise, but I've never liked the execution so much. So I should watch the show. I'm sure I'll be entertained at least,
Yeah, I'm the same way with a lot of, not a lot, but a couple. Like I understand exactly what you mean by liking the premise but not liking the games.
Yeah.
I do enjoy those games. I like the Fallout games better than the Elder Scrolls games, but yeah, I think even if you've never played the games, I think you can enjoy the show. You're not going to lose too much. There's a couple of like nods to the games, but they explain everything really well, like what everything is and why they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, it's a really good show. Like I was surprised, like CGI, not so much. Like when they switch from like real life special effects to CGI, it looks really bad. But like the power armor and stuff is like real, and a lot of the stuff is like really good, like prop work.
The cast is really good too.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot like the Disney Star Wars movies, except they are a little bit better written, I think. But like the characters' interactions with each other, like the archetypes, are all very much like from those Disney Star Wars movies. But they do it really, really well.
Okay. It looks good. Someday I have to check. I'm sure at some point I'll end up watching it. I'm not a big Fallout fan, but I'm curious.
Again, it's 8 episodes. It's 8 hours long. You do not need to play the games to understand what's going on in the show.
I unfortunately have already. So.
They're so good.
I played 3 to death when I was younger and platinumed it, and I haven't touched any of them again. And I played Fallout 1, which I regret.
Yeah, those old ones are tough to go back to. If you want to play an old one, I would suggest Tactics, but even that is still pretty rough.
I did Fallout 1 for one of the early first 10 episodes of the show, and I hated every minute of that game. Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah. Other shows you want to mention?
No.
Okay. Kyle.
Yeah, so sorry for stepping in on the Fallout back half of that. That was one of the ones I was going to mention.
You're fine. No, please do.
Other shows that I've been watching, these are, I got a wife. We've only got the one TV upstairs, so we share it. We've been watching Survivor again. Funnily enough, we've watched all 40 seasons in the last year, because when my wife was pregnant, that was the thing she got really into.
Mm-hmm.
Even during the pregnancy at the hospital, I think we watched 2 seasons, and it was funny because the nursing staff was also interested in watching it while we were there.
Love it.
It's one of those things, if you have kids, you get it. You're just in that room for like 2 straight days. You got to do something. So we did Survivor. So good time with that. And then the other show, weirdly enough, another reality show, if anyone watches this, The Circle on Netflix. Anybody? No?
No.
So this is probably one of the better, like, newer reality shows. It's basically a competition where everybody is in this big apartment complex and they play through just texting in screens, almost like a MySpace. So the premise is that you can be like a catfish or someone fake or not, and then you get to the end, it's all voting based and you see who wins. But it's like one of the best game theory shows that's out there still, because you see these people by themselves talking to themselves in real time, formulating these plans, and it's just got this really interesting premise behind it. I think they had the 5th season now this year, and one of the things they added this year is one of the contestants was an AI. And they had it talk to other people, and the players, it was only on for like 2 or 3 episodes. I think there's 12 total. And if the players found it out, they got an extra cash bonus. Like whoever wins the final vote gets $100,000 or something like that. But if they found the AI, they would have gotten extra cash, and no one even voted. Like of the 8 people that were on the show, 7 real people, 1 AI. No one voted that the AI was the AI. So it's a really like weird kind of show, but it's actually kind of stupidly silly. And the people are like weirdly nice on it too for a reality based game. Yeah, I'd give it a try. Like, it's just kind of hilarious. Like you'll see like these guys who are pretending to be their wives, like talking to other people. And, like it's just this weird combination of catfish and non-catfish. That's like, you can't really find this anywhere else. It's just awkward, but fun.
Okay. I don't watch reality TV show ever.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I do watch tons of documentaries. I was watching about Ashley Madison that just came out about the website. That was really good.
Yeah, my wife loves it, so we watch all that stuff.
I only watch like one reality show, but I'll save that for my turn.
Anything else you want to mention?
I guess too, just because we're in Wisconsin, Top Chef Wisconsin this year, pretty fun for us.
Okay. And Tony, what about you?
Okay, so I don't watch a lot of TV. I watch more movies, but
You can mention movies too.
Yeah, but when we're talking about reality shows, one of the things that I watch is a reality show. It's called Blown Away. It's on Netflix. It's a show about glass blowing. It's like a competition glass blowing show. So like episode to episode, people get voted off and they're all making things out of glass. And it is phenomenal. It's so good. I love it so much. It can be like emotional. It is really uplifting in a lot of ways. And it's just fun to see what these people make, Some of the things are like really good. And sometimes the stuff sucks, and that's fun too, and stuff breaks. Like that's the other stuff. Like it's really heartbreaking because it's glass, But yeah, it's very, very good. But yeah, that's my like recommend is if you've never watched Blown Away before, there's 4 seasons. Each one of them is really good, Even like the newest one is a high mark, It's very good.
Okay.
And then movie, I've seen a couple movies lately, but the one that is remarkable, I watched this movie called Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, it looks so good.
It is phenomenal.
Is it?
It is very, very good. Very, very good. In the same weekend, I watched Civil War and then Late Night with the Devil. And I want to talk about Late Night with the Devil, like if that's like any sort of judge. I don't want to talk about it too much because I don't want to give away like that's part of the fun of it. But it is at a high level. You're watching like basically an episode of late night TV on Halloween night. And it's like in like the 70s like time frame. So like imagine like a Johnny Carson like vibe. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. It's available on streaming now too, so you can kind of watch it wherever. Late Night with the Devil.
I've heard of it, but never seen it.
Yeah,
It looks cool.
I've had that recommended to me by like 8 people, and since I don't watch movies, I haven't seen it yet.
I know some people will be like, well, it's a scary movie, right? Like, I don't like scary movies. And I would say it's like not necessarily a scary movie. It's kind of like can be shocking and thrilling at times. Like, it's not violent, it's not gross, but there's definitely some spooky shit. There's some stuff that happens.
I only watch scary movies, so
Well, this is right up your alley. This movie is definitely going to make it into like a Halloween rotation, right? Like around the holiday, you watch certain movies. Like this one is one that you could watch a couple of times and make it in to that rotation.
Okay.
That's it for me. Yeah. That's
Okay. I got two things. One thing quick I forgot to mention is I rewatched all of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and then I'm rewatching Korra.
Yeah.
Oh hell
I'm
yeah!
not a
My
fan
wife
of
finally got
Avatar
into
that
it.
much,
Good
I'm sorry.
times.
Oh, that's all right. I'm enjoying them. My wife had never really seen. She saw a little bit of Korra, but then she fell off, and we just got to season 3 of Korra. But I've seen it once, but I have no memory of it. But
Season 3 is so good.
fun. It's fun to go back to it. I'm like, nice to watch this again. And Mario, what is some stuff you've been watching? Can you hear me?
I lost him.
Oh, okay, good. Somebody said, I'm like, oh no, don't tell me it kicked me out. All right,
Yeah, I don't.
you hear
he's
us?
dropped out a couple times.
Okay. All right, we'll just go on to my last topic then, and I'll just have. But I want to talk about X-Men '97,
Ooh,
which I'm sure everybody's watching. That's why I would like to kind of say it's the last thing to go out on.
I haven't. I have not watched
I
it.
also
I'm-
haven't.
I'm gonna ask to please avoid spoilers because I have 4 episodes to watch yet.
Oh, then I won't say any spoilers. I definitely not. Especially I don't want to spoil anyone. But it's. I just want to say it's really good. Like they did a very good job of coming back with it.
I agree. Most of the episodes I've seen so far have been awesome. I'm not a big fan of some of the voice actors. Like I think Rogue's voice is very annoying, but besides that, they do a really good job. There was one episode that I thought was bad, but everything else has been really good. I'm
You're in for a treat for the end, by the way.
okay. I was very mad about Storm losing the Mohawk at the point where she loses the Mohawk because Mohawk Storm is my favorite storm. But yeah, they're doing it really, really well.
And it's already been renewed for season 2 and 3.
And 4.
4th one renewed too?
Yeah.
Damn.
2 is already almost done being worked on. 3 just got started, and 4 just got renewed.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm happy that the show is doing so well for Disney Plus, and I'm glad it's so good. Like I'm really I just finished it and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the animation is like surprisingly close to the 90s stuff. It does feel like they made it a point to make it look like it was animated in the 90s, which is, I'm not going to say the best time for animation, but it's a very specific way of doing the animation that everyone has sort of gotten away from, and they do a very good job of making it look like that. So that shows me that they care about making it, a continuation of that show.
Yeah, because it really has that vibe of X-Men, and the 90s cartoon.
Yep.
And Mario, do you want... Oh, no, I was just never mind.
This poor dude, his internet's got to be on the fritz.
He's having a storm.
That timing was absolutely perfect. As he dropped,
I can't edit it out, damn it.
well, Mario.
But I do want one last thing I do want to mention. We're just about to wrap this up, but since I'm going to do my small humble break, this is what are you playing? God, what the heck? Allison Court, the voice actor for Claire, original RE2, was actually in town randomly at a comic book store doing autographs. It was the randomest thing because I went on my lunch break. I'm sitting in my house and I'm on Facebook and I look at my phone and I just see one of the advertisements for one of the comic book stores I go to sometimes. Like, oh, they're like Allison Court is in town and signing. I'm like, what? And I unfortunately was stuck at work, but my wife was off that day, so she went for me and got a signed print from her.
Nice.
So
That's
I'm
cool.
gonna frame it shortly, but I gotta. Apparently, it's not. I bought an 8x10 frame, but the photo is not 8x10, so I gotta trim it. But yeah, I guess she was really nice. I was bummed. I really wanted to go, but I'm like, I can't just call into work and be like, I'm sick. Now, had it been a Mary Elizabeth Winstead, fucking, I'd have been sick as hell, and I'm leaving. So that's one of those people that I would miss work for, but I don't miss work otherwise. Oh, and Mario did have one thing that he wanted to say. He watched the Abigail movie, and he really liked it. That was the movie.
Yeah, that was another one that I might double feature Late Night with the Devil and Abigail, because those are two movies that were recommended to me by people whose opinions I trust, because they know what I like.
Movie? Like she's a vampire ballerina or something? Oh, yep, that's the one. Okay.
Yep.
My wife saw it in theaters one Saturday night when I was stuck at work because she loves horror movies and I hate horror movies. So she's like, I'm going to go see it. I'm like, you go have fun. I'm going to sit here and work. So
Go have
gross.
fun.
Well, I mean, I'm stuck at work till 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, yeah, I know you're going to be bored just sitting here, watching me sit on the computer, just stare at the screen, wait for something to happen on a Saturday night. So like, yeah, go have fun. And I don't want to go to horror movies. So make me go every so often. I'm just like, Like we saw the newest Exorcist movie a few years ago. It was the last horror movie I saw in theaters. That wasn't that bad. But there's some that come out and I'm like, yeah, there's no fucking way I'm going to that theater. I can't do horror movies. So I think that's everything we need to talk about. Anything? Yeah. Any other last things you guys might have had? Movies?
Oh yeah, I've been playing Marvel Snap. No, I'm just kidding.
You should.
For the last hour and a half, I've been playing Marvel Snap.
All right. Michael, where can people find you at?
Well, they can't find me on social media because I'm terrible at posting, but you can look up my podcasts. Jack Billings Presents, which is a scripted, absurdist comedy podcast that takes place in alternate reality Reading, Ohio's. I played a ghost in the last season. It's a weird, wild time. You can also find me on This Bizarre Adventure, where I'm watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for the first time, and my co-host B, who is an amazingly talented voice actor and cosplayer and JoJo superfan, is taking me through the show, and it's quite a fun show, the podcast and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
And Kyle.
Yeah, so still on the RPG show, therpgshow.com. We just did a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth episode a couple of weeks ago, and Eden Chronicles is next.
You said it was a 4-hour episode or something?
Yeah, yep.
Too long.
Too long.
I can't imagine doing that.
It's a long game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. And Tony, where can people find you at?
Hey, I like that game.com to check out the show. Hey, I like that game. You can just search that wherever and you can find us. We basically do a podcast in a once a year, 24-hour charity stream, with all proceeds going to mental health organizations. We usually do that towards the end of the year. But yeah, hey, I like that game. Mike, you were on what? Metroid Zero Mission? That was the...
It's been a long time.
Yeah, I think that was like 3 years ago, but it's a good one. That's for sure. So take a look at that. But yeah.
Okay. And for Mario, who unfortunately had to lost his connection due to internet, you can find him at Bias Gaming, so definitely go check him out. And if you want to support the show, you can follow us on Patreon. You will see a link in the show notes to our Patreon. And to find all our content that we do, everything we publish is on brain farting. Can be found on Podbean. You can find everything we do on there. We have over 600 episodes of this podcast. Go search in. I've been doing these What Are You Playing for over 3 years now. So there are a lot of episodes. We do one every month. Haven't missed a month. So go, if you want to hear more of those, go. You can find the whole catalog of all those, of what random things we just that people talk about and bring on the show. Definitely go check that out. We have Discord. Please join our Discord and chat with us. You see a link in the show notes to that also. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Has Fear. You can follow her on TikTok and Twitch and Instagram. You will see a link to her link tree in the show notes. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, and review us wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.